I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Oliver Dobson, the head of operations at Helios Protocol. Oliver, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking the time to be here today.
Hey, Ashton, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
You're very welcome. I'm really excited to learn about Helios Protocol. Been following the project for a while now. I know it's been in development for quite a while, and there are a lot of recent additions to the project. So if we could just kick it off with a high-level overview and the focus of Helios Protocol and how are things going so far?
Yeah, for sure. So Helios Protocol is a block lattice structure, which makes it a little bit different than the blockchain structure that we're used to seeing. And because of that, it's taking a while to get things figured out, but slowly but surely we are getting there. Recent developments that we've had going on that we're pretty excited about are essentially this tip bot that we've launched, Colossus. We've talked about a Chrome extension. We're working on a mobile wallet and things like that. And the point of all of these products is essentially to bring a very cost-effective and fast option to the market. So we're not really trying to tackle the massive big picture of things at the moment. The real goal is basically just to provide something to the masses that they can use to experiment, to learn as an educational tool. And we're really excited about that approach.
Definitely, and I think that's the right approach because there are a lot of platforms that they don't really have any dApps or any actual working users on them, and they have built out the network protocol, which I want to dive into first, and then we can talk about the dApps. And it's interesting that Helios is a block lattice structure. I was actually talking to one of the founders of, I believe, Lattice Structures. Can you just talk about the advantages and how it really differs from a protocol like Ethereum or Cardano?
Yeah, so it has a lot of testing still to be done, and that's fair to say. There's a lot of research that still needs to be done on the space, but block lattice, at least in our context, essentially means that instead of having a singular blockchain, which processes transactions and can therefore get congested as things get really hectic, these particular block lattice structures, essentially every wallet has their own blockchain, and then those blockchains communicate with each other through a series of nodes. And so by doing this, you can do essentially that fancy sharding term that you hear talked about a lot, and other things like that, which basically it essentially allows for things to spread out and scale at a much larger pace, and it keeps things quite energy efficient and cheap because you don't have people competing for transaction fees to get included in blocks. It also means for super small little minute things that people may not notice, like because you know the number of the block because it's integrated into your wallet, you can actually pre-do the proof of work required for putting in that block and things like that. So that's a nice bonus. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with the block lattice structure that once we see some more research, and we've got a lot of essentially projects that are trying to do similar things. Nano is a great example. Nano's block lattice structure, instant feeless, great option for doing currencies, but they don't have smart contracts. And so doing block lattice with smart contracts, that's a very different proposition, and that's where things become interesting.
Very cool. And you talked about how your team is already working on decentralized applications and building, apps for people to start using the actual network. And you have this Colossus tip bot through Discord, which seems to be one of the most popular community gathering areas for crypto right now. Can you just talk about Colossus, the development of it, and how it's working throughout these communities right now?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the way Discord is going right now. I haven't used it for a few years now. There was a time where I kind of feared that places like Telegram and Twitter were just going to stay as the focus. And I think Discord brings a lot to the table that the other platforms don't have. And so with this and this integration of bots, we've been able to provide all these different services that you just, honestly, they blow your mind once you start using them. And so Colossus is a tip bot. And what that means is it's a custodial wallet. So it creates a wallet for every user on Discord that wants one. It manages it for you, and then you can send and receive transactions directly through the chat by just typing simple things like .t and then an amount and then a name. And it'll just do a real blockchain transaction. You'll get a link to the block explorer. People will be able to see it on the real blockchain, and that part's really unique. There are lots of tip bots. This space isn't new, but something that Colossus is really unique with, and unique with in that like it's accessible to the masses already. Is that it's a wallet that gives you access to your private key. It is still custodial, so it's a service. You shouldn't keep your entire bank balance on it. It is kind of like a prepaid credit card or account card or something like that. Don't keep your entire wallet on it. But if for the money that you want to play around with and ping around and share with your friends, and if you have a Discord server that you want to do some rains, which is essentially a tip that hits everyone that's active in your chat, you can do that all on a blockchain for basically no fees. And it's become pretty interesting to see it grow. Colossus has become pretty popular. You can invite it into any Discord server. It doesn't take any setup, that's kind of what makes it unique, I suppose, is that there are Discord bots that you can use, but they require you to run a node and probably download something off GitHub and host it yourself and things like that. But this Colossus option where you can just click an invite link, pick the server you want it to go into, it lands, and it just starts working immediately. That's really exciting. I think there's a lot of potential for that.
Very cool. And you talked about sending small tips and having it move really quickly. Can you just talk about the block lattice structure and how it's built into Helios protocol compared to something like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are using proof of work, and you did mention proof of work as well. Is the settlement time and the block time really quick, and also the transaction fees if you're sending tips? I can imagine, $1 or less tip, you wouldn't want to have a $20 gas fee like they have on Ethereum right now, and obviously they're working on fixing that, but what is that like with Helios?
Yeah, absolutely. So block times, they confirm in under a second. It must be milliseconds. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it's under a second. It's basically as fast as I can flick my two fingers. And the fee is, at least at the moment, the last time I did the math, it would take you about 27 million transactions to spend $1. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah, so essentially free, not free. You will have to have some Helios, but I mean, we also offer a voting faucet through the bot, and so you can go and vote for the bot as a thank you. It will give you a small amount for free, and then basically you'll have enough to cover fees for a very long time. So yeah,
that's great.
So basically a really easy way to get access and test crypto at no cost to yourself.
And have you already managed to get this into some of the major Discord platforms, and are you actually getting adoption and growth with the dApp?
We're getting there. I wouldn't quite call it a dApp just yet. We hope to integrate dApps through it, but as of right now, it is a central service that we do host. There is someone who manages the bot and runs it for us. Decentralizing it and potentially using some form of like DAO token would be awesome. I would love that. There's a lot of potential for that in the long term. Helios as like a smart contract platform is still kind of under production. We work for value transactions. You can send HLS, and that's awesome. But for the smart contract component of things, that's still on testnet, and we still have some work that needs to be done. We're obviously encouraging people to come test it. That would be awesome. The more testers we get, the sooner we can pump it out to mainnet. But for now, we just kind of need to iron out some kinks, because when it comes to contracts that hold people's money, the absolute last thing that you want to be doing is, potentially having bugs. That's no fun.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think this whole block lattice tip bot structure is going to become a really popular thing. In terms of, are we in the mainstream Discords and things like that? We've grown pretty quick. I mean, I think it's been a few months since we launched, maybe 6 months. We're in over 240 Discord servers right now. Some of them are pretty reasonably large. And then we're also in I think we got over 3,000 votes so far in the month of March. So in the last 18 days, decent, nothing to argue about, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, by that it makes us the third highest ranked crypto bot on Top GG, which is the website that essentially catalogs these bots, and that's really exciting for us because we're still very much ground roots. We're still very much like a small niche project that needs to grow, and so to have that kind of presence so early I think it's pretty exciting.
Definitely, and I think taking your time and doing it right. People have been comparing Ethereum to Cardano and how Ethereum sort of launched without a parachute, and there are these network transaction fees that need to be solved and the scalability to be solved. And Cardano, it has all this hype right now as the Web 3.0 platform, and it has smart contracts, but there really aren't a lot of dApps or smart contracts besides the wallets that are on Cardano. But they do have a team of researchers that are trying to build it out right so that they have the parachutes when they launch and have those applications so that you have a strong foundation. And so I think that that's sort of the way to go about it, Oliver. And you talked about how you're working on smart contracts right now and you're in the test net. Do you have any other details into, what's next to come before the mainnet? What do you have to do, and are you looking for more people to get involved?
Yeah, for sure. So we kind of have a step-by-step process that we need to complete, in my opinion, and you kind of need to check off one box before you can really focus on checking off the next one. And so our first one is we've launched a Chrome extension, similar to MetaMask, which, as I'm sure everyone understands, is incredibly important at this point. I don't think anyone doubts the importance of MetaMask anymore. And so
Yeah.
we are working on a Chrome extension similar to MetaMask. Once we have that, and then the ability to switch to the testnet, and then also the ability to add custom token contracts, which doesn't exist in the extension just yet. So once we have the ability to add these custom token contracts onto a testnet, beam them around between people, really get used to doing this kind of stuff, then I'll be ready to potentially move it out to mainnet. But until I've seen people, like users who have no idea that they're on testnet, use something, then I'll move it out to mainnet. But until I can have someone use it and have no idea that they're using a testnet, then if that makes any sense, I hope so.
Definitely. And what I like about Colossus is that you have the usability and just the full integration with these social platforms, so that you don't really have to understand the technicals behind it. And I'm curious, because right now the majority of DeFi applications are built on Ethereum. There are a lot of Polkadot-based projects coming out, Cardano-based projects, Cosmos-based projects, and what Cosmos is working on, I had them on the show recently, is the IBC, Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, to be able to speak to other protocols and blockchains. Is there going to be a focus with Helios protocol moving forward to be able to communicate with the other blockchains where the network effect is already strong? And will it be just as easy to use or to move back and forth between other blockchains?
I would love that. That would be amazing. So that would, me saying that right now, that's very much like something I want, not something that's currently happening or we're working on, because that's something that has to come further down the line. But that's definitely something I would like to do. I see no sense in siloing a blockchain. I think that only hurts yourself. Because there's no reason for it, especially once you start having things like tokens. Tokens are at least a mitigating step. We can start doing wraps, hopefully. I would love to have a couple of wraps going so that people could just send them using Helios as a fee instead of ETH as a fee, because then you'd spend nothing to do it. So there's some potential there. But yeah, that's still kind of a little bit down the line. And then once we start getting that stuff, then we can, once we have the tokens going, then the floodgates can really open and we can really start throwing things down the path. Because I'm really, there's a lot of stuff. I don't think there's any way that you can saturate the smart contract market, to be honest. There's just too many options. So
definitely.
And then if that's the case, and you're gonna, it can't be saturated, why wouldn't you want to be able to talk to everyone through an internet of blockchains or something like that? I think it's a genius idea. I've been following Cosmos since their launch, and I thought absolutely. In fact, all blockchains should talk to each other. If they don't, it doesn't really seem to make sense, to be honest.
Totally. And well, right now, I know there's a lot of development to be done, but the Colossus bot is live right now. If there are other people that have Discords that are looking to get this tip bot functionality, what's the easiest way for them to get that integrated?
Oh, it's so easy. So there's a website called TopGG. It's essentially a catalog for finding Discord bots of all kinds. And they happen to have a category called crypto. That's usually the easiest way to find it. Or you just type in the search bar Colossus and it should come up. But if you just go to the crypto tab, I think it's the third one up there, and it gives you an option to invite. It'll give you a link. You click on the link, and the bot will essentially ask you what server you want it to join. You can only add it to a server you have the permission to do that to, right? But yeah, so you pick the server you want it to join. It'll basically have you fill out a CAPTCHA to prove you're not a robot, and then bam, it's in the server. It works instantly. You don't have to do any form of setup. Essentially, to get people started, I think the easiest way to get started is the prefix for the bot is a period. So what that means is, with most bots on these platforms, they look for punctuation at the start of a message to know to read that message. It sounds pretty straightforward when you hear it like that, but it is kind of confusing at first glance. And so if you want a list of commands from the bot, you would type period help, no spaces or anything, just .help, enter. and it'll spit you out a list of all of its commands, and then you can kind of learn how to use it from there.
Great. And for the viewers that are interested in learning more about the Helios protocol, whether they're developers or end users, what's the best way for them to learn more and potentially get involved?
Definitely our Discord server. Definitely our Discord server. That, I mean, as it's just to be fair, that's basically the place that I can maintain. There's a lot of people who are trying to help, but there's so many places on social media, especially in the crypto world, because we have to follow with the mainstream ones and these other proprietary new ones that are giving away tokens and having their own, whatever they're doing, like Publishocks and Libri and all these other things, right? They're great platforms, but there's so many to keep up with that the best way to do it, in my opinion, is just to reach out on Discord, ask your questions in person. I'll answer them usually very quickly. I'm almost always online, it seems. I don't know why I'm always online, but it seems like I'm always online nowadays answering questions. And so, and by doing that, we can also quickly send you a tip, show you how to withdraw it to a real wallet, walk you through the process of what a private key versus a public key is, and give people that really quick educational feel. It's not really that simple to just kind of tell someone to download a wallet app and go through the process of receiving. But if you just quickly type a one-line command, they receive some coins. Now they're incentivized, and they're like, "Oh, how do I get this into my own wallet?" And then that little incentive is that incentivization. Is that even a word? I don't know. That little that little incentive essentially makes the light bulb click for them that, hey, they should actually look into this. And I think there's a lot of value in that we can't forget.
Definitely. I completely agree, Oliver. And I will leave the Discord link for Helios Protocol in the description box below. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. All the best with the development of Helios Protocol and the growth of the Colossus bot. And let's follow up in the near future.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be on the Crypto Coin Show. Nice talking to you, Ashton. Have a great day.